Well, as the sun sets on this week, I kind of was reflecting back on all the stuff. I may have bit off more than you can chew. There's a lot in this video. I'm still trying to learn how to get all that's going on in a video and not make it overly long. I didn't succeed this time, but in this week's episodes, I see, what did I do? First, we went to Clearwater. We did a little trip on Saturday. Went out to try and see what that was all about. Amazing beach. Very different from California. The contractors came over for the concrete, and one of them was so excited he remembered that I had a shooting range. He's like, dude, I need to test out my pistol. So he shoots his pistol on my shooting range. I survey the rest of where the shop's going to go and realize that everything may not fit as well as I'd hoped, but oh well, we'll make it work. I clear a whole bunch of Palmetto again. It's like a lifelong thing, it seems. I'll eventually get to the end of it. And let's see, we see a bunny, a tortoise, who actually makes his home now where I'm not really excited about. We'll see that. And yeah, we talk with Thor. Anyway, it's all good. Take care, and good times. So here we are at Clearwater Beach, Florida, and I'm seeing a lot of difference between beaches in California and beaches in Florida. For one, it's like deep with people everywhere. It's like craziness.
Wow.
You got parasailers out on the ocean, all kinds of stuff, but yeah,
wow.
very interesting.
If I gotta kill somebody, I'd be dead.
It's swinging. That hit.
You hit it?
Yeah. Concrete guys came out and did some surveying. This is the existing shed, and that stake shows that the road height is 20 inches above ground level here. So to give you some perspective on how much grading we've got to do, right here in the driveway, that's 15 3/4 inches low from the road, and level with the road is right there part way up the driveway, and the house sits up pretty high. So the two stakes out in the distance here, those sit about 13 to 16 inches below where the road is right now. So there's quite a bit of filling that needs to be done. So this is 16 inches low. So there's only 4-inch difference from this stake to the one at the far end, the east end. Then this one over here, what does it say? 13.5 inches is what that one is. So quite a bit of grading. I think we're going to need some dirt brought in to fill in. And they measured down the driveway. There's some low spots in the driveway if we're going to make that go. But should give you an idea of about where that shop is going to sit. Let me walk over, get you an angular perspective. So from where that stake is on this side here to the one up here by the existing shed, it's going to be 80 feet, and the distance between the two on this end here is 30 feet. So, well, I hadn't really looked at that now. Now that I have the trailer sitting there, the trailer's sitting about where, a little further back in the shop. So the trailer's 18 feet, and it sits, how far out past the, well, it's a ways past there. So, everything's always relative. 18-foot trailer plus the tongue, I don't know what that makes it, 20, 24 feet, so there's only maybe 6 feet. So the trailer is going to fit in the shop and take up almost a whole parking spot, depending on where I set it. We'll have to finagle. It either sits outside or maybe it comes in. But you know, you build a huge building and then you fill it up with stuff and you try and figure out how is all this going to work out. But those will be our challenges. But still, good times. So the assumption is that the road here is high ground and that it shouldn't really ever flood. So then walking down the 326 feet from the road to the end of the beginning of the parking pad, the end of the driveway, if you will. They took a couple measurements. It's kind of hard to see how broken the concrete along here is. Let's see, right just past that cone, I think, is their first measurement. Going downhill, really, from where the road is. So that mark there is 9 inches down. But then it goes from 9 inches down to 4 3/4 inches down. So we've already kind of walked through a little valley. And we walk over this way. He didn't measure the biggest part of the hole. I think he was more concerned with how the shop is going to transition into this. So here, this mark is 11 inches down. And I think the next marking we have is kind of up towards where Connor's car is. Of course, this fills in, becomes a lake right there. And this definitely fills in. So that's 15 3/4 inches right there. And of course, the top of the driveway there, that line is level with the road. So then it goes from 15 3/4 here by the tree to 20 inches low over here. So there's all this gradient that they're going to have to try and fill in and decide, do we make this all the same height as the road? Or does it slope down this way a little bit? How's that going to work out? And decided that I'm probably going to have to start over on the chicken coop, because looking back at how things drain, that ends up sitting in a puddle of water if it rains hard, so that wouldn't be good for the chickens. So we'll have to build that up, probably just knock all that down and start over. Might be able to reuse some of the pieces, like the trusses and whatnot, but the well should be okay. It gets wet, but I think all the electronics, circuits and such are going to be high enough. So one of the other things I did was trying to figure out where these pipes go, and I kind of dug down to there. It looks like both of them head that way, which ends up being kind of between these two windows here, and I don't know where it takes a turn, so I'll have to dig those up and figure out. But the good news is they didn't take a left here and go towards the shop, and we'll bury them under something there. So anyway, I'm excited to get this going. What I'm not super excited about is now I got to really come up with the honest plan of how do I move that shop, or the shed, and get it out of the way so the new shop can be built. Good times. Well, I was going to go out this lunch and check and see how difficult it's going to be to move the shed. I was going to see if I can unbolt the anchors that tie it to the ground. But it's drizzling. It's Florida. Drizzle's nothing. So let me go see if I can get that sorted out. Alright, so what I'm going to try and do is see if these are bolts or lag bolts or what they are. Oh, that's got a screw stuck in it. I don't really think I even needed my impact. That's not really holding much in. So there's one. Let's go check on those others. This is the back corner. Got this kind of fascia board on here. I guess it was supposed to keep the rodents from getting in. Not sure how good a job it was going to do. And let's see if I can get that on there. Maybe not. Screw it in, or what we got going on here? Something's keeping that fascia on there. Ah, there we go. Problem solved. All right. See if this one's finger tight. No, he's a little tighter. Give him a shot. And there's the washer. No idea where the nut went. Washer's pretty useless too. So it looks like both of these on this side really weren't doing much. Let's go over to the side with the farm truck and see how that's going. Alright, so we got a similar thing here, fascia board. And this guy, he's a little jiggered up though. Might need some hammer to give him some incentive. Let me go get something to whack that with. Where can I get this on there? Oh! There's the other nut. So that was pretty well rusted through. Let's see if I can get this with a 9/16. Let me go grab a wrench. Alright, most things can be fixed by a hammer, a screwdriver, or a wrench. So let's see if maybe I can tap this over. Oh, he's pretty much stuck there. Try the wrench. Half expecting this to just snap. We're not play nice. He might actually be in better shape than the other screws. We'll see. I'm out far enough where I can get the impact wrench on it, maybe. Yeah. At least it was somewhat gripping. There are whole bolts there. Seems like that's it. Can't tell what this thing might be sitting on, if anything. I guess we'll see as we get going. Let me try that last corner. This one's a little more covered in grass and such. Let me clear some of that and then I can get at the bolt. Kind of an old pipe. And a hose. Huh. Never know what you'll find into these things. Alright, let's see if this will work. Well, mostly. Not sure why it's just spinning. There we go. Not too much tooth left on that one. Probably would have pulled that almost like a nail. Well, that takes care of the four corners. Now I guess the next thing is to get the shed unloaded, and I need to put some blocks on here so that I can put maybe even something like this. I got a piece of rebar. I'll stick through there so I can loop the chain on, and then on the part where we're going to drag it, I'll probably put just a reinforcement block to keep from kicking the end block off of the foundation slab and go from there. I'm guessing that these things aren't going to give me too much trouble. I think they're just sand auger type bolts. I should be able to just pull it and they'll move out of the way, hopefully, and we'll go from there. So the shop, or the shed, is going to go over in another spot. Let me show you where that's at. So I had the tractor out earlier and put the pallet forks on because I had to move the brush cutter, rotary cutter, brush hog, over there. It was sitting where that kind of lighter green grass is in front of that stump. I think that's probably where the shed's going to end up resting. It's either there or about where Connor's car sits, but on the grass coming this way. So I'm not really sure which spot's going to work. I kind of think it's a little more level and probably more out of the way if I put it over there. So I still have to move that stump. I think it's just going to go on the burn pile. And what's left of that pallet, kind of messed that up. That was me trying to play with the backhoe. But I need somewhere to be able to drive the tractor as I drag that over here, so that stump's in the way. And those are actually oak logs. I got to split those. Log splitters over here. I haven't fired him up since we split all of this firewood and Connor helped stack it. But yeah, so that's the plan. So right about where I'm standing would be where the shed goes. So I kind of got to drag it towards the Subaru there. Of course, move the Subaru. And then spin it and drag it this way. You would figure that I'd decide this right after I put a bunch of wood in a pile right there. Not easy to use the bucket. I might be able to use the grapple to move all that stuff out of the way. But or have Connor stack it up over here next to the other wood stack. That might work too. But anyway, a little bit of planning going on, trying to get this all going. Good times. So in case y'all were wondering what my office looks like, this is where I am most of the day, working remote. This is actually a 65-inch flat screen. It's actually creating my Zoom backdrop, so I don't have a green screen. I'm actually using this screen. So I got these two. These two screens here will flip between being my PC and I have a Mac Mini. So I can actually spin those up and grab my, oh, it's charging over here, my keyboard and mouse for the Mac. And then this one up here is just for the PC, and this screen is just on the PC also. But I've got my Shure Studio microphone, and I'm actually using Focusrite to get that mic into the PC. And then I've got Fosse audio, so I can listen to my tunes, music, Zoom calls, whatever audio out of either of those. And I can switch the mic between the Mac and the PC pretty easy. The Fosse I gotta crawl under the desk at the moment. I just started using the Mac a little bit at work, but mostly what I'll use when I need sound is I'll just grab my headphones and do that. But that's it. So I got this desk I actually made when we were back in California. Oh, great. Perfect timing for my PC to crash. Made this desk though back in California. Got shipped over here. They didn't like it too much. The legs are a little bit on the wobbly side. So I need to kind of strengthen those up a little bit. But anyway, this is my home office. And yeah, good times. Well, I'm kind of bummed. Just learning all this stuff as I go. I got to be super careful around these roots, I guess. Some trees are a lot more durable than others, but I lost this oak. Not making me too happy, but I'm going to go try and work on some more palmetto. And I guess really just try and be a little more surgical and not grab around at the base of these trees as much. I want to save as many of these gorgeous oaks as we possibly can. So we've got quite a few that we've been able to save, but some of them didn't make it. So we've lost, what, three now. I also have this other, there's another one around the corner here that isn't doing too well, but I expected it not to do well. It was already laying over from the muscadine attack. But all right, so let's set up and let's work on some more palmetto. So this is the basic area I'm going to work on today, or this afternoon. See if I can point some of this out. Got a bunch of this. I got to get clippers and cut this stuff so I'm not pulling on this. This is another oak. I want to make sure I save. I've got a bunch of vines in here. But basically, this is palmetto. There's one there. So there's several kind of right in this general area that we need to take care of, but I want to be careful of the oak that's there. And what do we have over here? We've got a baby oak on this side. And this is kind of what I go through. I'll go through and survey and try and see. That's a weird, I just noticed there's some kind of a weird stump over here that somebody cut and threw into the bushes. We get a lot of that. I'm trying to figure out where the trunk of this one is. It looks like it's here and it's laying that way. So this may not be in the healthiest of conditions, but I'll try and work around it. So I'll come in this way here, miss that tree, and try and work on all of the palmetto in this space here. But I'm going to go grab a tractor and some cutters, and we'll do this. Silly log I mentioned earlier. It's kind of pushing on everything. Now, not really sure what that guy's about. Cut this one. This is greenbrier, and that's muscadine. Those trimmed out of the way. So I'm not pulling on those when I back in. Work. Set. Spin my chair around. Quite last right. All right. Trick number one is find the trunk. Well, this one should be good. So I can get under it, push it away from me, extend, and lift him up, push him. The idea is to break loose those fibers. A little bit more pressure. trying to get to the best views of all this, but I don't have the best views always either. I'll tell you now, I need to clear some of this stuff out here. Quite slow with clearing the space. All right. A little bit of top. Those help not take out any hooks. A nice tidy file here. Grab it later. Bring a little bit of stuff up here. Before I usually run into trouble, grab a root or something. Mine broke. That's not too good. Find it later. Looks like we got one. Looks like I'll need to get to him. Try this one here. Get him right down at that base. Grab him. Link. Pick him up. Like that. Need to get him closer down here. Away from me. Gotta give it a shot. Sometimes I get lucky. Well, that way either. What else we got over here? So I gotta be careful around that oak tree. Was that a down pine there or a palmetto? That's what we got earlier. Okay. Hold it tight around the pine. Don't think it's going to be a good angle for this. Give it a shot. I can see where it's moving from. So let's go back this other way. Yeah, that's him. Oh, no, let's go here. Well, let's talk a little bit about the mess I made. Got a lot of palmetto cleared out though. That was all palmetto right in there, a little bit there. This is the weird challenge over here. I've got, had to clear the ground out. Once I got there and get in here, there's a few palmetto, but they're kind of encircling that. So that'll be my next project for the next day. Let's see, what else did we get? We got a lot of work done in here. I think my camera was working for most of this. But this space here was all palmetto. I had some serious challenges with this oak tree right here, this one. And trying to get around him. I nicked him once, maybe. Alright, so this is the other side of that encirclement. So I got so many trees in this area. I think it's going to be easier to attack that from the other side. But I think once I get that done, that'll pretty much get that all. There's like one straggler over here of a palmetto. Well, a couple maybe. So I need to back in here and get those. But let me step back and... So this is the area that we cleared a while ago. This was all palmetto, and now it's kind of trees. I did lose one more oak in here I'm bummed about. I talked about that earlier. But there's this space, so this will kind of continue on. And I need to go in and try and figure out where all my pretty oaks are. There's 2 or 3, and figure out how to save those. And keep enough of a blind, because the neighbor's house is just over there to the south, or sorry, to the north. Just trying to keep all this in focus. What I'm curious about is what the trail looks like around the corner. So this is my trail up along the fence. So to our right is the space where I've been clearing palmetto, and above us is a bunch of muscadine on oak, yeah, live oak. So once that's done, I should be able to walk through here. This I think will all stay, but now you can kind of see right through there where the palmetto was. But here is where that oak is, so we'll have a good blind on this side. And let's see, just kind of giving you guys an idea of how I survey and figure out what to do next. That's going to be a challenge to get in here and get that set of palmetto. And that's all muscadine, and there's a pine in there. But that's all the other set of palmetto that's got to come out. It's just to the edge of where I was just playing. So maybe once I get that cleared, I can come through and get this part here. But then we'll have a clear shot to there's their swimming pool and the other house. So then, walking through here, there's quite a bit of palmetto there. And who knows what else I'll find. That all comes out. This all comes out. But you can see in there's a grand oak. So that's one that I got to really be careful around. And of course there's a ton of palmetto around it all. So let's see. This is my kind of along the fence trail, but there's a lot of palmetto in here. Let me walk out to this opening. And this will kind of finish off that zone that we're working on. So there's quite a bit I can get from this side. But there's that big oak from this side. So he's beautiful. There's another oak here, another baby oak. Of course, there's palmetto growing right up against it. Same thing with that little oak. This one may or may not get saved. We'll see. And then coming around this way, yeah, this will be kind of the continuation here, but that's where that big, beautiful oak is. And this palmetto's all got to come out. I'll have to take more of my time. Oh, wow. I'm like right at the edge of that. Okay, so if my clearing's there, we've got this little patch of palmetto and the big oak. Let me walk around this way, and you'll see right where we were working just minutes ago was here. Oh yeah, so there's that oak. So I'm almost up to that. Yeah. So I got maybe a third of this done today. We'll keep working on it. Keep plodding away at it. Oh yeah, there's a little bit easier. So I was almost up to where that is as I start to clear out this space here. But good times. Well, our new friend has moved in. He's over there. I just walked out. It's always like, you gotta have the camera rolling when you come out and do things like this. Whoa! Where's my camera? Oh, there he is. So he's out. Sorry for the jitters. There he is. Cruising, munching. Let me see if I can get a steady hand. I had to zoom in because if I get too close, he just goes into a shell. There he is, snacking on our grass. It's about time to mow the lawn again. But it is interesting. I wonder if this is the one that has built his nest over under our house, which I'm not overly excited about, but yeah, that means we'll see him out here quite a bit. There he is. We'll get a shot of him head on, munching away. I just love, so this is such a different thing from California. You might find a little bit of wildlife here and there, but we actually have at least 3, if not 4, gopher tortoises that will kind of hang out in our area. And of course they're protected, so we can't mess with them or do anything with them. He's just here to hang out, help trim the grass. So let me show you where his house is. So over here next to the house, Karen noticed it when she was putting this pine needles up along things. But this is a characteristic hole for the gopher tortoise. It's kind of a half moon top to the bottom, and then he's kicked a bunch of dirt out here. I don't know if he's come out the exit. He sort of has an emergency exit over here that he's only come out once, I think. But yeah, so that's our new resident in the area. Well, I got quite a bit more done this afternoon. I know it's kind of hard to recall progress when it just looks like a forest. But most of this was palmetto here to the fence. So I got most of that cleared out. There's still a few little spots here and there where I gotta, like this guy here, I gotta go through and dig those out, but those are the minor ones. It was more after the major ones, so there's still a couple over there and a few, but this is getting to the edge of this zone, and we're almost up to the bald cypress trees, which are just over there. So there's just a few more. I think I'm going to try and get those from the other side. But what we were trying to do, there's more back there, is get a lot of the space around the trees cleared up. But that's the oak I've been working around. So that's a pretty good sized oak. The odd thing is it's growing up right next to a pine tree. But there's a bunch of vines and such growing up there between the greenbrier and muscadine. It looks like in this area there's just a little bit more greenbrier. I'm hoping these trees are the ones, these oaks are the ones that end up being really sensitive to their roots. So I've been trying to keep from digging too much around those. But I'm pretty happy. You can kind of see the neighbor's house if you look through everything. So it's not quite as open as I had feared maybe. You know, there's still enough undergrowth here to get. But these trees, you can see a lot of the stuff down to the ground. I got to come back and clear all that up. Get the vines snipped, get the ground cleared. But this zone is just about done. Just noticed I got a little bit more over here. I think that's just slash. I got to come back and clear Yeah, I think I missed this as I was shuffling stuff around. Oh no, there's a couple of palmettos in there. So yeah, I gotta come back and get those. That would be the last in this area this far over. But I'm quite happy. That used to all be palmetto, and now it's becoming just pine and oak forest. I spied a bunny in our neighbor's yard. Just kind of hanging out, trying to be invisible. I tell you, there certainly is something really serene about walking through the forest out here. There's a light drizzle. Birds are out singing. Just super quiet. Just amazing. God has blessed us so much with all that we have. Just never ceases to amaze me. His provision, His care, His love. And He created all of this for our enjoyment. So I figured something I should do is just come out and enjoy it once in a while. But with the rain dropping on the leaves, birds singing, kind of a breeze blowing through the treetops. Just awesome. The rain here brings such a renewing of life, nature, God's creation. Certainly love to take advantage of just coming out here and taking a stroll after a stressful week. Today's Friday, so it's supposed to be a tropical storm depression or something like that coming up, but I think it's going to hit us. We're just at the edge of it, so mostly south of us is where that's going to come from. And I might just take you guys on a nice leisurely stroll through my forest. Of course, peaceful walks about got to be punctuated with a mosquito or two. Sorry, took my glasses off to swat at them, and got to do something with this tree. I think I'm gonna try and let him survive, and maybe cut the path to go a little bit to the left here around it where these palmetto stumps are. Always work with palmetto, at least maybe for the first year. It'd be gorgeous once I get all that cleared out, get all the invasives out. I think we're going to leave the greenbrier. Just keep it in, keep tabs on it to make sure it doesn't get out of control. But the deer love it. That's the thing. Anyway, that was about half of the forest walk. Well, maybe a third. Didn't go back into the far back, and we didn't go out past the shooting range, the new road, but you've seen that part. If you haven't, go back and look at a couple of the videos. But anyway, feeling blessed, having fun, good times. So definitely different from California. This is just the rain coming up. There's a tropical depression coming. But yeah, pretty good rain. Karen's trying to figure out how her phone works.
Yeah.
They keep moving the buttons.
They do.
So today is the day. I'm going to start trying to get that shed emptied and get all of that stuff that's in there into where the Tesla sits in the garage, at least temporarily. And if we can move the shed successfully in one piece, or at least so it sheds water, we can move some of that back in so we aren't stuck without the Tesla in its normal charging storage spot for, I don't know, a couple months. The shop is going in here. You can see one of the stakes for one corner there and the other corner over here. So it's a 2,400 square foot shop, 30 by 80 feet wide, large. Originally I thought, oh, that'll be huge. But then as I started putting things in it, they always say, you know, put a bigger shop in than you think. And I thought I did, but I think I'm going to end up having to store the trailer outside and some other things just for convenience. We'll see how it works out. But today's challenge is to finish moving a pile of Palmetto and then get this stuff moved and then retrofit the shop for mobility, or the shed I should say, for mobility. Anyway, good times. So here's some of what we got to move. See if I can get a shot. It's there's no electricity in here, so it's pretty dark. But all of these cabinets and there we go, zoom down a little bit. The cabinets, the shelves, and all of this stuff need to go. So there's 5 cabinets, 4 shelving units, some power tools, and miscellaneous stuff. All have to go. It'll be fun. Well, got some of this cleared out, and it's a bunch of miscellaneous stuff here. It's raining, and I think we're all tired, but most of the heavy stuff's out. It's all over there. Thanks to Connor, Karen, and Cody for helping clean this up. All right, so I got the Tesla plugged in. Extension cord goes to there. Just a slightly beefy 50 amp, 240 volt. And it goes to there. So I think we'll be fine. We've got some path there and some open shelf. I can still get around that way, sort of, around the cat box. Might relocate the cat box, we'll see. But for the most part, yeah, I think this will work. Thor came out to help me survey the work I did this morning, Sunday. Yeah, I got a little bit more of the Palmetto done. Oh, he's a little skittish out here. So there was a bunch over in this area. That's all cleared out. What do you think, Thor? Am I doing a good job? Yeah? Okay. I'll take your word for it. But I got that all schlepped away. Got a huge pile for burn now. But making lots of progress. So did you miss your Palmetto, or are you happy that it's gone? Okay. I'm kind of happy it's gone too. Mostly because you can't walk through it too well. Hi. Sometimes you act more like a dog than a cat. You know that? Yeah. Well, I got a little bit more to clear out in there. And then start working through the forest. It seems like there's always little bits and parts that pop up in this area that I got to go back and clean. But that's to be expected. I got the bulk of it out. Now it's just kind of like pulling weeds. Right, Thor? Yeah. You're such a good boy. Yes, you are. All right, got to get ready for church.